going on in social media. But anyway, getting back to this article. So the woman says that she said in 2012, an Icelandic woman named Torlug Augustusdóttir or something discovered a Facebook group called Men Are Better Than Women. Yeah, men are better than women. And one image she found there was, and this she said the lady wrote, she has it in quotation, was of a young woman naked, chained to pipes or an oven in what looked like a concrete basement, all bruised and bloody. She looked with a horrible broken look at whoever was taking the pic of her curled up naked. So Thurgood wrote an outraged post about it on her Facebook page. Before long, a user at Men Are Better Than Women posted an image of Torlog's face, the person who reported it, altered to appear bloody and bruised. Under the image, someone commented, "Women are like grass. They need to be beaten, cut regularly." Another wrote, "You just need to be raped." Torgood reported the image and comments to Facebook and requested that the site be removed, and Facebook automatic response said this: "We reviewed the photo you reported. Came Facebook's auto reply, but found it does not violate Facebook's community standards of hate speech, which includes posts or photos that attack a person based on their race, ethnicity, national origin, religion, sex, gender, sexual orientation, disability, or medical condition." And that is a big fat lie. Because I myself experienced that when they were slandering me all over Facebook. Probably you go on there, you still see my face. They got hate speeches written all over my pictures and everything. You understand me? So when I reported to Facebook, this is the same exact reply I got from Facebook. You see what I mean? So then when the woman gets murdered or something, then they say they're not liable, when in fact they're part of the problem. You see what I mean?
Well,
you see what I mean? Mhm.
Yeah.
So
is there any evidence that men are being, bad-mouthed on Facebook anywhere, like women?
Well, every chance I get, I lambaste them. I don't know about.
I'm just wondering,
I don't know if they got hate groups on Facebook against men, but when I say badly, I lambaste them when I see the unfairness and the injustice. I would say something about it. I mean, in my own tradition, where we talk about Ifa and Orisha, there are a lot of disparities when it comes to women. Like the initiation process. Okay, women and men pay the same money to be initiated, but yet men get more than women. They get more than women. They go through other rites of passages that the woman don't have to go through, but yet still she got to pay for it. You see, and that is a no-no. Why am I paying the same price as you, and you are getting more than me? You understand?
Exactly.
So that's a disparity. Then they try to limit women from certain positions of authority. So, you're women, so you shouldn't be doing this. Or they limit them from the get-go, from the jump street. So it's like, you got a son and a daughter, but you're going to send the son to school, and the woman, the daughter, going to stay home, cook, clean, mop, and do whatever else needs to be done. This is in Africa. You understand? So a lot of that, because we question stuff like that. Why is it that, there are not women diviners when women are naturally intuitive? Why? Because the women have to bear children, they have to stay home, take care of the children, they have to cook and clean and mop and come and then take care of their husbands. You understand?
And then when they do work, they're not paid enough money. They're not paid fairly, so they can't live off of it.
Paid for what? And what woman gets paid for?
Women are not paid at the same rate that men are paid. Women are typically paid much less.
Of course. Across the board.
It's harder
even
for
in the
them
United States, they practice that. You know,
Yeah,
me
and
and
if you
Joe
think
Blow, we
you
can
got to
have
pay
the
a
same.
babysitter, you got even
Okay,
more.
that's another spin. Let's hold off on that for a minute because that's
just
very
to say that
important.
that's an expense that you have to pay to work, and men usually don't have to pay to work.
Okay, can you explain that a little bit more?
If you're going to work and you have a family, your kids have to either go to school or they have to have a babysitter, or if you work the different hour shifts or things like that. So you're going to work, but you're going to have to cover the care of your children if you have children. So that's going to cost you money. Whereas the typical situation where the man goes to work and the woman stays home, and he doesn't have any extra costs, the woman's doing that for him, so, he gets his full salary. Or if he's not married and doesn't have kids, he doesn't have to, share his money and he doesn't have those extra costs. So that's another way that women
with a child has the extra cost. She has the extra cost to pay the babysitter, something that she herself don't get paid for. Right?
Exactly.
When she does it, nobody come and hand her a check and say, hey, how much your babysitter, people be screaming about babysitting costs because they're expensive. I remember back in the day when I had that issue, I'm like, oh, my God, I can't find a good babysitter. It's messing with my job schedule, this and this and that. And eventually I had to decide, am I going to stay home and take care of my children, or am I going to work these people's jobs? Well, I opt to stay home because, I felt like, at that time my children needed me more. So I opted to stay home, and, I did my little home business, and it turned out to be much better than going a 9 to 5, because you got to figure in all the things that happen in a 9 to 5 job. With children,
that's right.
Oh, man, you got to get up extra early. You got to get everybody ready. You got to get yourself ready. You run to the job like frantic, like a crazy person. You stay there for 9 hours, then you take maybe 1 or 2 hours to get back home again, 1 or 2 hours. So you're talking about a 14-hour day.
That's right.
A 14-hour day, 4 of those hours you don't get paid for at all.
Exactly.
Okay, the
and it's
traveling
costing
time, you don't get paid for that.
It's costing you to drive around. It's costing you for a babysitter. So you're even at a bigger disadvantage, versus the man that stays married, the wife stays home, and, he takes care of her and she takes care of the kids, so the old-fashioned model. But that's harder to find.
Either way, it's a win-win situation for the men.
The man, absolutely.
It's a win-win situation for the man. Yes. Okay?
That's right.
You see? Yeah, so either way. So there are a lot of other things that happen that a woman does inside of the home. Let's just talk about the home for a minute. A lot of stuff that women do inside the home that she is not compensated for. But if she had to do it for herself, she would have to pay for it. You understand? If she had to do it, if she was a working person, she would have to pay for it, like babysitting. Okay?
Exactly.
Okay? Now, what else does a woman do in the house? Cook and clean. If she wanted somebody else to do it for her, she would have to pay for it. Because nobody come and do it for free. She got to pay to cook, to cook and clean. Okay?
That's
People hire housekeepers and and even chefs if they can afford it. You understand me? People
and all this
hire
time
people
she's
to do
considered
these
not
things.
working. She's considered not working all this time, right?
Yes, when she's providing all of these services, she's considered not working. But let her go out and work, she still has to turn around and pay for those same services. You see? So you understand, audience, where we're coming from with this. Okay?
Well,
that women are really having a very we're getting the bad and the short stick, so to speak, okay? I have somebody that raised, I don't see them now. They fell off. Someone had raised their hand for a minute, but they got disconnected. Hey, if you're listening you need to call back. I don't know if they got disconnected. They raised their hand. But So you're listening to True Talks with OFAE, and my special guest is May Commander, and that is her women's activist name that she goes by. And when we say women's activists, you start getting men talking about, oh, the women are feminists and, all this type of thing. Let's talk about feminism just for a minute, okay? Let's talk about feminism because in the spiritual sense, I like to correlate everything with my walk of life with Ifa and Orisha. In the spiritual sense, we have our own women's activist, and her name is called Oshun. And Oshun saved the world with her femininity. Oshun saved the world because she stood up and spoke against the mistreatment, how the male Orishas, were leaving her out of the fold. Oh, yeah. And guess what? When they left her out of the fold, nothing wasn't working right. So no wonder we're living in an effed up world right now. We're living in an effed up world because women really don't have no say. Okay? And Oshun is a prime example of standing up, women standing up for their rights. If you don't stand up for it, the men are not going to give you anything. When I say that, the way how the laws are set up and all of this stuff is set up, you have to be proactive in order to get anything done.
Exactly.
If women right now want want to be recognized for the work they do in the home as a paid job, we have to be proactive in getting that done. And show people why it's a gross what is the word I want to use? It just goes against women. It's a gross inequality. Okay? It's a gross abuse. It's an abuse.
Absolutely.
At least if the woman has to go work, don't make her pay for no babysitter when she has to be that she taking her paycheck and go and turn around and pay for a babysitter. That's no incentive, for the woman who works. Let me give you a little bit of stats about that because women and this is from the United States Department of Labor. In 2010, women represented 46.7% of the United States labor force. That's 2010. That's 6 years ago. A slightly larger share than the start of the recession in 2007. Did anybody know we had a recession? Maybe women didn't even know we had a recession. Why? Because we're always living in an effing recession. Excuse me?
Exactly.
Okay?
Exactly.
Yeah, so we wouldn't know. We just hold everything down regardless of how low it goes. It could go down to the bottom and women would try to make something out of it. That's a woman for you. Okay? That's a woman for you. Leave it to the men and they'll jump off a roof, get a gun, blow their head off, and that's how it go with them. But anyway, so overall, it's saying 71.9 million women were employed or looking for work, representing 58.6% of all women aged 16 and over. Okay?
Wow.
Then we have, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
58.6%. Then we have as the workforce and the overall workforce has become more diverse, so having women working, among women in the labor force, 13.1% are black, 4.7% are Asian, and 12.8% are Hispanic ethnicity. Along all racial groups, men are more likely to be employed than are women. However, black women are almost as likely as black men to be employed. Now, that says something. Where the black men at? Why they're not employed? You understand me? And let's diverse to that a little bit. I feel sorry for us, man. I feel sorry for us, for women, for our vulnerabilities, because, for example, you would hear women and men cursing initiated priestesses who marry Africans, right?